A Conversation with Elliot
A
Patterson.
Conversation with R.G. Belsky.
Our guest, Carrie Beauvais. Robert, welcome to the show. So Vicki, welcome to the show. Rear, welcome to the show. Sherry, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome.
Yep.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You were a former managing editor at the New York Daily News, Metro editor, deputy national editor. You worked for the Star tabloid magazine as a news editor, and then worked at NBCnews.com, apparently working with like the nightly news with Brian Williams.
Elliot is a lawyer
Show.
specializing in international investment and trade issues. He's also the award-winning author of 15 mystery novels, 10 of them in the Inspector Shan series set in contemporary Tibet, and 5 in the Bone Rattler series, set in the years leading up to the American Revolution. Is a long-time best-selling author with more than 40 novels and novellas published, including gothic thrillers, police procedurals, historical fiction, and her latest, cozy fiction. She is a past president of Crime Writers of Canada and a member of Capital Crime Writers and Sisters in Crime. A political satire called The U.S. Party. But his greatest accomplishment, as far as I'm concerned, is that he performed for 8 years as a member of a Beatles cover band. Okay, so let's talk about your writing career. Have you always been a writer? Have you always wanted to ask, let's see, did you always want to tell stories? Were you always drawn to the mystery and thriller genre? Were you reading them when you were younger?
Whether I was consciously aware that I wanted to be a writer, I have always been a writer ever since I was a little kid.
Well, I think the answer to that is yes. I think it started with I always wanted to read stories. I mean, from the time I was a little kid, the constant refrain at my house was, Sherry, get your nose out of that book.
Generally speaking, yes. As a reader, I've probably, certainly since I became an adult, I've read mystery and thrillers of all sorts. Trying to remember what I read when I was a teenager, I would have been a lot more mixed.
I got a birthday gift of the Three Musketeers when I was 7 or 8 years old. I thought, what's this? I got a book, it's like, and when I started reading it, it just totally transfixed me, and I thought, this is wonderful, and I just started reading like crazy, Treasure Island, all the old favorites that are still, being
Let's start
today.
by getting into the Bone Rattler series, and I wonder if you could just briefly give me an overview of it, because there's quite a lot going on, both with the characters and also the historical movements going on behind it as a subject when you were younger, as a child. When did you start writing?
Really about 30 years ago, but not novels. I was writing stage plays. I was writing small scenes for this acting group that I was working with in Orange County, California. And then I started writing stage plays and produced.
Definitely, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed learning facts. I enjoyed sort of thinking back to, things used to be different, and here are all the ways in which they were different. I didn't really write about it until I got started on The Magician's Lie, but history has always been one of my favorite subjects.
Because I was trying to capture these many events and the dynamic before the war. The series really tracks the birth of America, and I say that in contrast to the birth of the colonies. It starts near the end of the French and Indian War.
I noticed that in the last scoop, because you have a murder that took place like 30 years ago in Indiana that was never solved, and this kind of gave you a chance to treat it your own way.
Yeah, there's two basic real life elements in the last scoop, my new book, and basically it was inspired by the fact that as a very young journalist, I was here during this Summer of Sam, when Son of Sam, killed 6 people and wounded 7 others in this terrorist breach through New York.
A newspaper article, going back to your thought about news, that I'd read years and years ago, where the body of a young woman was found in the woods, not far from where I live, near the Michaud State Forest. And it always just sort of tugged at my heart that for years nobody could identify that young woman's
very
body.
Influential for me in the fact that I was doing a lot of British history and a lot of studying of the British classics, the Bronte sisters, Jane Austen, all those 19th century writers. And it really got me interested in the history of the area of England. And so when I was 30, my mother took me to England for the first time, and I just really got so excited about the history of it. And that's really when my love of history was born. And
looking over your list of published books, and I am really kind of surprised just to see how many you have lately. Usually a writer would be content with 1 or 2 series, but it looks like you have currently like 5 series that you actually are still publishing books in.
Well, actually, probably we've probably seen the end of the year-round Christmas mysteries. I don't know if anybody can see my book here. This is probably the last one. So as a replacement, I'm starting the new Catskills, Summer in the Catskills series.
And what I think
year.
is the beautiful and powerful thing about historical fiction is to draw that world for the reader and to bring the reader in. And we can do all sorts of beautiful visual descriptions, and that needs to be part of it. You need to sort of see what Kate sees as she's walking down the street. But one of the things I really like to do is look for what are the smells, what are the tastes, what does it sound like?
2021 is going to be a bountiful year for you then, Robert.
That's what we're saying.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing future books in this series. I was not exposed to your book until just recently, but I enjoyed it very much, and I highly recommend it to anybody interested at all in the American Revolution. Robert, thank you very much for coming on and talking about all the projects. And frankly, I would like to see Miles Atwater come in with another case again. I very much enjoyed his company.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I can deliver if that's what they want, then I would definitely do that.
Thank you so much for spending the day with us, and you have a good,
Thank you. I really had fun.
And have a cool day in New Mexico.
Yes, you
Well,
too.
and I hope our readers will decide to look into the Arctic Fury. We have copies for sale at the Mechanicsburg Mystery Bookshop. And I wanted to thank you very much for talking with us today, Greer.
Thanks, I really appreciate it, Bill. It's great talk.
Oh, it was fun. Well, thank you very much for appearing on the show.
Thanks very much, Bill.
You're welcome.
And my pleasure.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. I appreciate the opportunity.
Dick, thank you very much, and have a great day. Okay?
Thank you.
And I
Thank
thank you very much for inviting me, and say hi to everybody in Mechanicsburg. And I do hope to get down to see you there soon.